Just kidding.
Closing your door. I'm gonna customize my server.
Huh?
I'm gonna customize my server.
Customize your what? Oh, okay. Nice. Wow, wow, wow. You back?
Back. Bro,
Here.
can we talk about Dylan Brooks? That's all I hear around the Bay Area this morning. Like, he's just enemy number one. Dude, Saturday, oh man. Did you see JTA check in? It's gonna get dirty, man. Warriors gonna come out firing on Saturday.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, why didn't they play with that spunk after it happened?
They just played bad. They shot like 15% from three, and they still almost won.
Yep. That's why I think Grizzlies are in trouble, man.
Oh, God, they're gonna get stomped on Saturday.
Dylon.
You know, I think it's very similar game scripts and situations between both the Suns and Mavs and Warriors and Grizzlies. Like, you have Luka, they're just gonna let him put up points and he's gonna get his, and Morant's gonna get his. But it's just like a one-man team. You like how I threw in that little "May the Fourth be with you" in honor of you?
Yeah, I have a picture somewhere where I took like a little set of pictures for thumbnails. It was like I had this stank, ugly shock face, so I couldn't find it, and I wanted to push your video out, so I didn't put it in there. But I thought about it. I made Bam run though. Did you see that?
Yeah, I like that. That was a nice touch. That's some solid editing.
You know, do my thing. Tyler O'Neal just homered. Let's go. The Cardinals have decided to choose violence. I'm here for it. Of course, it's on a slate where like I didn't play it, and I've been stacking them for a freaking month now. But what? Just like whatever, bro. Whatever. What's up, guys? Happy Hump Day. Hopefully, you guys are having a good afternoon as you get ready for this NBA slate to tip off. Everyone's favorite Miami Heat hosting the Philadelphia 76ers, also the Suns and Mavericks on the docket tonight. Shout out to the live chat. Lorenza, Kiefer, Parker, Sean, Flo, 174. Flo, is that a new name or is that a new sub? Either way, thank you. I love seeing the badges in chat. What up, Mike Haberman with that purple G, T-Chef. Dustin in the chat. Mavs couldn't stop her runny nose. Oof, Mavs are the Denver Nuggets. One stud, the rest are all duds. Yeah, okay. I mean, they beat the Jazz without Luka one game, right? So, I don't know. Obviously, Luka's their best player, but yeah. What up, Suave? Man, last night, let's live in the past for a little bit. Last night, if you missed it, Ja Morant, he dropped 47 real points, Josh. So many points that Patrick Beverley just had to tweet that Ja never dropped that on us.
Well, when you take out their Warriors' best perimeter defender, who was doing the best defense on them, when you take him out of the game, that's what happens.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No, it's direct correlation. Right when he went down,
yeah.
they couldn't stop him.
But also, Patrick Beverley lost to the Grizzlies. So
yeah, well, that's a whole other issue. They should have won. The T-Wolves should have won that series, but yeah, whole other story.
The post Ramadan Jaylen Brown dropped 30 real points, smoked the 2.5 3-point prop that we loved. Jason Tatum 29 real points, 8 assists, 3 steals and a block. Steph Curry with 50 fantasy points, 27 real points. So smashed that taco, flirted with a triple double. Giannis 28 points. So I think he got hooked, right?
Yep, by 0.5.
Oof. And then also 9 rebounds, 7 assists. Al Horford, we were on his over fantasy points. That was pretty easy. Rest of the slate was give and take. Yeah, there were some moving variables to say the least, and a lot of controversy, if you will, in the Warriors game. First of all, Gary Payton, 3 minutes in, fractures his elbow. Right, potentially dirty play.
Potentially, that was the dirtiest play. He hit a free layup. No, and like Steve Kerr said, he broke the code, man. You don't do that. And the messed up part is, like, this was a contract year. Gary Payton's been trying to get on a team for 6 years now. He finally gets home here in the Bay, and then he's up for a contract extension after this year. And now he potentially could not have a home. I mean, if that elbow has serious ligament damage. I mean, it's on a shooting arm. A guy who's been like a journeyman. It's wrong, dude.
I will agree with Kendrick Perkins, who tweeted, "That's a fragrant 2 on Dylan Brooks and should be suspended." So I get
suspended.
Fragrant.
I
quote tweeted it with "that foul stunk." Nobody got it.
Oh.
Nobody got it.
I like it.
Yeah.
I don't get how Perkins does a job.
But it's just like, maybe I'm the grammar Nazi here, but nobody like picked on him for that. So the world doesn't know how to play. Nobody knows the difference between flagrant and fragrant on Twitter, by the way, except me, apparently. But yes, that is an unfortunate, potentially dirty play. And I imagine there might be a receipt. We call that in the business. You got a receipt coming. You got that coming, right? So, as you were saying, if some nobody bum who has 0 minutes in this series so far checks in that next game, i.e., a Juan Toscano Anderson, and Dylan Brooks is on the court, I wouldn't be surprised. What up? What up, chat? Dustin's living in Dallas. Shout out to you. Shout out to Dallas. What up, Eric? What up, Skimmer? What up, Chris? What happened to the Bucks 3-point shots? Oof. I said yesterday I didn't think going Marcus Smart to Derek White specifically was a downgrade. I think it could have been a lateral. Maybe you prefer Marcus Smart for his shooting being a little bit better than Derek White. But I didn't think Marcus Smart was going to move the line over 5 points, and it didn't. They remained, the favorites, and they did their thing. And I also said if the Celtics were going to take, if you're worried about the Celtics' ability to win that series, if they were going to take a game, it would be that game. And then the Celtics are just a great team, and they've been a good team defense all year. So I didn't think Marcus Smart was that big of a hit. But Jaylen Brown looked like a different Jaylen Brown, and I don't know, man. It might be nourished and hydrated Jaylen Brown taking over. We'll see. What up, MV? Yesterday was a great, but getting hooked by Tatum, PRA, Horford assist, and Morant assist was tragic. Oof. And it sucks. You hate to get hooked by guys that have big games, right? Like John Morant. You get hooked on one thing or whatever, and my man dropped almost 50 points. So it's like, man. That's why I will tend to lean fantasy points if I like a play specifically. Otherwise, I'll, if a guy's priced up like a 60, 70, then I look for the small lines to attack like assists and stuff like that. But it is what it is. It's going to be stuff like that. Yesterday was definitely a slate that we liked a little bit more pre-flop than we will probably like this slate pre-flop. It's just a matter of the Miami Heat. They've been all year long just a predictably unpredictable situation, and without Kyle Lowry, you could paint the path for success for Jimmy Butler. You could also rotate the unpredictables on Vincent, Strus, Oladipo, Tyler Hero, guys like that. And then of course the Philadelphia 76ers without Joel Embiid, it's an uphill battle no matter what. They are 8-point road dogs here. So let's pop open PrizePicks. You guys know the drill. We'll peruse through the PrizePicks prop board. We'll also reference the underdog prop board and see if we can't walk away with some stuff we might be able to get behind. We'll start with the 76ers side of the basketball for full game props, and then I'll talk to you about if you think this game is a little lopsided late in the game. But James Harden starts off our prop hunt today with 9 assists, 7.5 boards, 21 real points, 44 fantasy points, 6.5 free throws, which is one of the lowest free throw props you will ever see for James Harden, I think. Can you recall a lower free throw line for James Harden? I can't. Yeah. So Tobias Harris on the board at 34 fantasy points. He's been somebody we've been looking at throughout this playoff series, especially when Embiid was with a messed up thumb and then without Embiid. Maxi's on the board still, 2.5 threes for him. We're going to need him to shoot better if they're going to make a run. And then Gorgeous Things on the board. Danny Green's on the board. I think we'd really kind of want to focalize on Harden, Tobias Harris, and Maxey for something we might like. Looking at my fantasy projections pre-flop versus theirs, I'm okay with the Tobias Harris over one more time. I got him for about 40 minutes. Again, I do have worries about this game getting into meaningful fourth quarter minutes, but if it does, I think it's a guy like Tobias Harris has to be a catalyst. And then James Harden, right? Are we dealing with a sleeping beast, or are the Heat really guarding him well? 9 rebounds, 5 assists in that last outing. Less than 20 shot attempts is something that maybe you expect him to have to pick up on. 33 fantasy points and just 4 free throws. So if they don't foul James Harden, they don't foul Joel Embiid, they might be saving themselves 15 real points here. How do we attack the Sixers props tonight? Would you start with like a Tobias Harris something, and then do you think James Harden wakes up one of these games and takes over it? Because while I don't think that like the matchup is great or anything like that, I mean it is a culture shock to open up a board without Embiid and see Harden at under 60 fantasy points, much less under 45. To see him at 6.5 free throws, like what? I mean, my eyes my eyes can't believe it. So what do you do when you look at the Sixers here? Anything that you like more than maybe we should, or anything that you want to take some dabs on it? And do you think this game is competitive through 4 quarters, and maybe you want to attack first half props? The answer to the will Paul Millsap or Paul Reed start question, by the way, was DeAndre Jordan. And that did not go great.
It did not go well. I think Doc is going to change it up. So what's interesting is, like, Doc, I don't know, at times he can be a real stubborn coach, and like when things are working, he will go back to like what was originally planned to do and won't adapt. And like, so for instance, in that second quarter, when they were running the small unit without a center, that unit was doing really well, and it was actually plus on the scoreboard. And yeah, they were out playing the Heat, and then, well, Doc got away from it and brought DeAndre Jordan back in the third quarter, and DeAndre plays almost the entire third quarter, and the Heat take the lead back. So I just don't get it. Like, I assume they would go back with a small ball unit without a center, which was like it was Harden, Danny Green, Tobias, Maxey, and Nang. So I don't know. That makes the most sense since it worked so well. We'll see what the starting lineup is, though. Maybe Millsap would get the start at the 5, but yeah. So Harden, I mean, it's just I guess we have in our mindset just the old Harden of the Rockets, and we expect 25 to 30 shot attempts, and he's just not that guy anymore. He's taken less than 15 shots lately. I mean, yeah, he took 13 shots that last game. I don't know if I just think that slot machine, man. I think it's ran its course, and I don't know if it's worth the risk on prop betting. I mean, DFS would make sense because he could have that one ceiling game in this series, but oh, man, do I want to risk it today at that slot machine? I'm probably either going to do an under or fade it. But I mean, Tobias is probably the one I trust the most. But I will say this about that game: the Heat shot really bad from three. I mean, really bad. They were 9-36, 25%. And the Sixers weren't any better. I mean, they were 6-34, 17%. If the Heat just shoot, a little bit better from three, this game could easily blow out. And that's where I'm leaning towards. So I don't think, because the last game we stayed pretty close throughout the game. I think the Heat probably bounce back and shoot better from three. So maybe first half props, maybe Tobias first half fantasy or points. And then I would say the same for the Heat guys. But when we get to the Heat guys, we can talk about some individual props for them. But I'm not feeling too good about the full game fantasy points.
Josh, I'll tell you what we're going to do today. We're going to still start DeAndre Jordan.
Oh,
we're just going to play. We're going to play basketball. All right? They might get ahead, but we're going to keep playing basketball. We're going to go up and down the court with our guys. We're going to take our shots. We might not make them, but we're going to keep playing our basketball, and we're going to hang in there. And then when it's done, maybe we win. That's literally like what he said. I don't know if you saw, there's a clip on Twitter from him being mic'd up. He was literally saying, just hang in there, guys. Just hang in there. Just hang in there, guys. What? Wow. Bro. It's a shame. He's getting a lot of heat. I get it. DeAndre Jordan was with him for the Clippers teams and stuff, but it's not the same. And we'll see if he makes a change. He seemed to have a lot of pride in wanting to stay with DeAndre Jordan.
Yes.
Pride gets you in trouble. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, when
Paul Reed got in foul trouble too, early on, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe so.
When Reed was out there, though, I mean, yeah, he got in foul trouble, but he was efficient, and so I don't know how you don't make a change here. Do what you can do to try and still win on the road, and you hopefully get Embiid back for Game 3, and we'll see. But yeah, it's rough. I'm willing to believe. Not believe, but I'd be willing to take some shots on Harden just because we got the lowest prices ever. I think the line that I like to maybe take a shot on is that free throw line. And just hope that maybe something's there. But I also guess that with the game script being them playing from behind, I don't want to get too caught up in it. So I'm with you on Tobias Harris. And then I don't know that I guess they're holding off on putting center props here, but I'd probably be interested in some DeAndre Jordan unders. If they listed him. But let's go look at the Miami side here. I'll get caught up on chat while we're doing it. Glenn, not Doc on the hang. Man, my boy Dustin is on one today. That's all I see in chat. Dustin. MVS has been waiting for Harden to wake up since the start of the season. I mean, Harden's had some strong games, but yeah, ever since the trade to the Philly, it feels like we haven't had that Houston upside Harden, and I guess that's also a credit to, not a credit, but can be attributed to the slow pace that the Sixers run. So it's just like a different setup. But we know Harden can still be 50, 60 fantasy points if he's out there long enough, strong enough, and his assist rate's still pretty high at over 40%. So that's elite levels. But we give credit to the Heat defense, and we give appreciation to the pace, and we also give appreciation to this total, which is really low, and that 8-point spread. So there's a lot going against Harden's upside here. So I definitely don't get me caught being too enamored with anything in this game. But you kind of, I don't want to say you have to do something, but you have to at least do some due diligence and explore what could happen. And I think in NBA, the what have you done for me lately mindset can certainly get you in trouble. We have found a big edge in attacking and predicting the adjustments by coaches.
Mm-hmm.
The problem here is Doc Rivers doesn't seem like he wants to adjust, right? He hasn't shown a recent history of making positive adjustments to what's being schemed out there. But at the same time, like, I don't want to pitchfork, his front porch and say Doc Rivers is a bad coach. He's obviously been around long enough, but man, everything I'm seeing, the audio clips, the interviews, just looking at the rotations, it doesn't seem like he's making a lot of analytical adjustments. So it's hard for me to get behind projecting positive adjustments here, but we shall see. Christmas said the Philadelphia Clippers. Yeah, right. Pride comes before the fall, says Jordan. Yeah, I agree with that. We like DJ. We're going to keep starting him whether you like it or not. I get it. That's the problem, right? Like DeAndre Jordan is so limited, so bad, so old. And even prime Jordan was, get me 20 rebounds and I can lob you a couple dunks here. And that just really isn't. This isn't really the matchup for that. Miami's been one of the best teams at preventing points in the paint anyway. So if you're gonna go from Embiid to DeAndre Jordan, Embiid with all kinds of post game, long range game, mid range game to DeAndre, yikes. So I don't know. If it were me, I'd probably just want to go small, get all my scorers out there, run Toby at the 5, give me a couple 3-point shooters and see what happens. But I'm not Doc Rivers, so yeah. Danny Green first half point, says Paul. Okay, Harden Maxey show tonight. You like that, Kiefer? Maybe they still won, but maybe Harden's been stuck at the Miami strip clubs. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Glenn is living off that one Celtics championship. Man, I like that Clippers team. I do. That Chris Paul, JJ Redick, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan. Like, I was a fan of that team. And I think injuries kind of, did them dirty. But, sometimes the coaches who have embarrassment of riches with talent versus coaches who are able to maximize what they can do with what they have. Sometimes the talented the coaches with talent get more credit than the coaches not. Like Luke Walton, right? Like, he's not really that good of a coach, but he was able to sit behind the Warriors clipboard for a little bit, and people think that he knows what he's doing. But you look at the coaches like the Pelicans coach, the Memphis Grizzlies coach, even the T-Wolves coach, right? Like, there's guys like that are really playing chess with their roster and adjusting for adjustments and matchups that we love to see. So anyway, I just went on like a little soapbox spiel there. Let's go look at Miami here. No Kyle Lowry for Miami again. A laundry list of Q tags.
Yeah, who's playing? Who's not?
Right. I mean, this is very similar to what we saw in that last game, and pretty much everyone ended up playing, right?
Yeah. So my question was, because it's so hard to keep track of their injury list and news. Is there anyone on this list today that wasn't on it last time? Like, is there a new one that popped up? Or are these guys all on the list last game?
From memory, no.
Okay.
But
because the Tyler Hero, I thought he was questionable last game because of illness, but with the respiratory.
Right.
But now he's questionable with the ankle injury that he might have sustained that last game. Is that correct?
Yeah. So that would be a different designation. But as far the question was, is anybody on this list that wasn't on the list? I think they were all on the list.
Or injury that wasn't previously listed.
I don't think so, but yes, initially, or at least for that last game, Hero was listed with a respiratory illness, and today's listed with a left ankle sprain. Tucker's also listed with a right calf strain. Caleb Martin, left ankle sprain. Strus, right hamstring strain. Gabe Vincent, right knee irritation. Good God. Good golly, Miss Molly. Says all 5 players are back on the injury report for game 2. But the expectation is that they'll be available to play. Tucker, Strus, Vincent are all in line to start, with the latter filling in for the injured Kyle Lowry. And then, Tyler Hero, he did win that 6th Man of the Year award. Shocker. So I guess the lean is that everyone's playing.
Okay. What about it's Depot's birthday today?
Okay.
They're gonna get him some birthday run.
Bro, I would hate for my birthday to be the National Nerd Day.
Yeah.
Maybe he likes Star Wars.
Yeah, he probably does.
Jimmy Butler, 21.5 real points, 5 assists.
No, thank
No?
you.
No? Okay.
No.
Chat, anybody? Anybody
Watch him
want
get,
this?
like, eight assists in the first
Bro,
half. Watch.
he's going to have like 15 assists. It's going to be great.
Yeah, because I mean, they shot so poorly from 3 last game. There was a lot of assist potential left out there.
Yeah. 6.5 free throws for him, 44 fantasy points. I have him about 50 fantasy points, so I'm getting a little bit of a lean on the over. Actually, let me minimize. That
1.5 steals I like a lot.
Yeah, I like that one too. Butler, 1.5 steals. We got Adebayo at 42 fantasy points. The wind spreader extraordinaire, 52 fantasy points. So he is the primary beneficiary of DeAndre Jordan being on the court, right? Tyler Hero's listed at 18.5 real points. He's coming off a 25 real point game, right where Old Gun liked the under, right? That was a little egg on my face. 2 threes is a prop for him. 28 fantasy points for Tyler Hero. And then Strus, Vincent, I don't think we have a deep interest in them. So no matter what, I know nothing from the Heat will probably end up being a core play. But talk to me about what you will target from the Heat. I guess you mentioned that 1.5 steals for Jimmy Butler. It's not blocks of steals, it's just steals. But steals is his thing.
Yeah,
it's been a while since he hasn't gotten you 2 steals in a game.
Yeah, it's right. I mean, and one thing he's like really good at is when in the inbound, he'll anticipate the pass and pick it off. And then I know I was watching that game, the last game he had when he was on Harden, he was giving up problems, and he just ripped his pocket clean on one play and just took it to the basket, and then Harden intentionally fouled. Yeah, so guys like Harden out there, turnover prone, and other just typical bench guys playing more minutes for the Sixers. I like the 1.5 steal. I feel like he can still get it done in 3 quarters like he did that last game. He didn't play the 4th, and he still got there. The one I'm wrestling with is his rebound prop. This Sixers unit's going to throw up a lot more bricks again today. That's what I expect. They're going to chuck it from 3 to try to keep up, and the rebound potential is going to be there. But if he doesn't get the full run, that's your only concern. But I mean, last game he didn't get full run, he still easily cleared it, and so did Bam. But I mean, both sides threw up a lot of bricks that game. So those two are probably my favorite. His 6.5 rebounds and his 1.5 steal. And he played the entire 3rd quarter. So I probably, if he does that again today, I'm probably not going to go this first half prop. But the one that I would consider for first half would be Bam. If DeAndre Jordan starts. And maybe even I don't play this ever, but maybe first quarter, Bam 5.5 points if DeAndre starts, because that first quarter when Bam went against DeAndre, I think he had majority of his points in that first quarter.
Yeah, he had 10 points in the first 8 minutes,
yes.
And then had a small checkout. Yeah, so 10. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's 5.5 points. So he's got to get 3 buckets on DeAndre. But before I click on that, I want to make sure DeAndre is starting. Because I don't like first quarter. First quarter is just such a dice roll, man. Because you're cutting it, you're cutting it down to 1 quarter, less opportunity. And then I want some. I'll take some Depot action for some fun. Birthday narrative. He shot really poorly last game, so he could have a bounce back today. But I mean, he was active on the glass and picked up.
Is there any Depot? I don't see Depot on the.
They'll drop it about an hour before lock. That's when they usually drop him.
All right. So I mean, what are you looking for? Like,
okay, so last time they dropped him at 20 fantasy points. So I would look for that, and then I would look for his rebound prop if it's at 3 again. He's a solid rebounder for being a guard. He's traditionally known for that. So I look for those 2 props. I think that's what you'll get. And his points, I think his points last time was 10, if I remember correctly. Yeah, 10.
Okay.
So,
by the way, Underdog has DeAndre Jordan props. So if he started, we might see PrizePicks offer similar. They have 5.5 real points, 5.5 rebounds, and then 10.5 PR.
How many rebounds did he have that game? Did he have like 2?
Yeah. If I'll tell you what, if DeAndre's not getting rebounds, then why is he out there?
Yeah,
He had
two rebounds.
2 boards, 4 points in 17 minutes. So.
Yeah, I like the under on that. And then, oh man, I'm not gonna call Bam. I give that first quarter pitch, but like full game, are you getting on anything for him?
So he's at 42 fantasy points. I have him at 51. So I mean, kind of in line with what you said for the first quarter. If he gets DeAndre Jordan, Eric Spoelstra is going to sick him. You know what I mean? Like, you find him
right.
and you attack him. So if DeAndre Jordan starts, yeah, it's a massive immediate boost for Adebayo. But if DeAndre Jordan starts, I would also expect the Sixers to implode. Like, that's just it's bad. So I would be scared for Adebayo getting his normal minute runs versus anything else, because I just kind of feel like the Heat should be able to put the Sixers to rest here if Doc stays stubborn, and I'm going to use DeAndre Jordan. We picked him up mid-season for a reason. This is that reason. We're going to play our game. I don't care if you like it or not, Josh. So I don't know. I think I like the thought of it. I like it more if DeAndre does start, but I'd probably stay away from it. Maybe there's an individual line that, no.
No, yeah. And then Tyler Hero, kind of worried about this ankle injury, or maybe it's nothing, I don't know. But you have that narrative, getting the award, and he played really well last game, and I don't see why he wouldn't today against this unit.
So he did close that game out, and that was, when Butler didn't touch the court, the game was pretty well put away. So I guess if you prepare yourself for a similar game script, unless there's like a real reason here, and the Heat have had laundry lists of injuries all the time. I don't know if they're just extra cautious with it or what. But if we lean to this game be a little bit more lopsided, I could get behind some Tyler Hero props here. What's more important, the Hero 6th Man of the Year or the Depot birthday, bro? I need narrative truthers out there to weigh in on this one, because I don't know what to do with the projection now. Who gets the narrative boost? The 8% narrative boost,
right?
But yeah, I don't mind that. Maybe I don't know. His 3-point prop is kind of low. Does he chuck threes like that? 6, 4, 5. I'd slightly lean the over just based on my pre-flop game script here, but there's no warm and fuzzies through and through on really anything when it comes to the Heat game or any of these lines. So I probably don't. I'm hoping that this Suns Mavs game will give us a lot to attach ourselves to, because this game is rough.
It's so bad.
So, all right, so working on a list here. By the way, chat, I did a baseball stream, and I came up with a few stuff that I would put some action in. I'm digging Dylan Bundy.
Confidence level?
For Bundy, it's probably like a 7.5, 8. For Cortez, it's probably a 7, and for Orioles Twins under, it's probably a 7. So I flex only, but what I came up with was Dylan Bundy over 4 Ks, Nestor Cortez under 5 Ks, under 15.5 pitching outs, just kind of a tough matchup, and then Twins Orioles under half a run. I'm not saying you guys go run this or nothing. I'm just saying if you were curious about some baseball stuff, it's up there. And then let's work on NBA lines. So the only thing I have that I'm okay with is like James Harden free throws. I think those. I feel like those have to come back sooner or later. And I don't have any warm and fuzzies on anything else. What would you add to the list if you had to? And I'm not saying this ain't gonna be like core stuff, but just something that we can mix and match.
I mean, I think it could be fringe core, even though it's breaking my rules of not playing Heat guys. But I mean, I would say Jimmy Butler's 1.5 steal or 6.5 rebound.
Okay, Butler 6.5 rebounds.
Yeah, or the 1.5 steal.
Oh, still, so yeah, still, okay.
But both of them I like.
Bet.
Probably equally.
All right, looking at chat, Dustin really wants us to look at Tucker's 3.5 over first half points. 3.5 points. Yeah, we can look at it. Sure.
So he gets a corner three and then a putback.
Hey, man, if DeAndre Jordan's on the court,
Anything's possible.
anything's possible. Sure. I kind of just have a rule in the last half a decade of my life where I just don't put money on PJ Tucker. But hey, Lauer, I see it, Dustin. I see it, so I wouldn't talk you off of it. But what up, Danny P? What up, Cowboys Nation? What up, Sean Drake? Limited money, Elaine Gonzalez, Luca Fantasy Points. We're about to hit that game, Elaine. We kind of go game by game, team by team. What up, Travis? Did we already discuss Reed from the Sixers? Kind of. Doc indicated that he intends to keep starting DeAndre Jordan, but we'll see. And then there's no Reed props yet, but if Reed props were low enough, he per minute wise was pretty productive for fantasy. Envy says Hero with the 16.7 fantasy points in the fourth quarter. And F my unders. And who else am I missing? Shout out to anyone that rolled in late. Exit screaming, what's up, buddy? Paul's in the chat. All right, shout out to you guys. If you're lurking, say what's up. What up, Blistered? Never bet on Pete. This is kind of my thing. But like I said, hey, chat, this ain't me. I'm never here to argue with you guys, man. We always say your biggest edge in betting is your intuition. So if your gut's telling you to take some action on PJ Tucker, my job or my goal is not to argue against you. I really just like to talk out strategy, thoughts, and I'll share what I'm running. So feel free to chime in if you disagree or anything like that. Or if you like PJ Tucker, go for it. Bing bong.
Squeak Diesel super chatted
Squeak
99
Diesel.
cents.
Yo, Squeak, appreciate that. What up, Mike? What up, Darnell? Willie Wilson? It's been coming. I'm telling you, I dig it. For the Suns, I like Ayton first half points. Should be getting good minutes against Powell Kluber. All right, bet. Let's jump into that game. So we'll move on to the second game on the docket. I do want to remind you guys that not only do we have that first deposit bonus deal with PrizePicks, and I think everyone here probably is already on PrizePicks, but we have a similar deal set up with Underdog here. So it's one of those everyone wins things, right? The free content gets supported by them. They get a user, and you get double your first deposit up to $100. So if you use that link in chat, if you sign up using code GUNDACKER, you put $20 on there, $30 on there, they'll make it $40, $60 instantly. And you can kind of shop lines between the two sites and make sure you're betting the best value. So if you like some unders, sometimes you can find a higher line on one site versus the other. Sometimes you can see props on one site that is not there yet. So for instance, my boy Josh, the sicko with the ghost peppers, he just told me that he's cool with Jimmy Butler 6.5 rebounds and 1.5 steals. 1.5 rebound call. Let me see what Underdog has. Well, Underdog has him at 7 rebounds, Josh. They also have him at 5.5 assists, where PrizePicks had him at 5 assists. So if you're digging some Jimmy Butler overs tonight, you'd go grab him on PrizePicks. And then there's always times where, maybe you find some softer lines on Underdog, but also if you're digging some unders inversely, you might get some higher lines on one side or the other that you can get a better deal with going with the under here. And they also have some DeAndre Jordan lines up already. So if you really think DeAndre Jordan is a non-factor today, which, whether or not he plays, he could still be a non-factor. You can take some of his unders. And out of curiosity, looking at Harden lines, they have Harden at 1.5 block steals, 7.5 rebounds, and 9 assists with 2.5 threes versus what PrizePicks is offering. PrizePicks also has the 9 assists, 21.5 points. Is that the same? No, so they give you 22.5, so you get a 1 point difference between the two sides. So a couple of differences. So it's not the exact same lines, and you can just line shop, grab the better deals based on what you are feeling. So just wanted to point that out there. Let's move on to the second game on the dock. It's the Mavericks and the Suns. Let's pull up Dallas on the prop board here, full slate, and get caught up. What up, Crispy? Hope you're doing all right. How about them Yankees, baby? 11 in a row. That's what you want. Tucker has heart and will play in like his old teammate Harden. Play unlike his old teammate Harden. I mean, sure, but he's still PJ Tucker. That's why I PJ Tucker has one of those better real player than fantasy player reputations preceding him. But I'm not getting you off of that. What Tobias line was your favorite? What are you thinking on Toby's? The fantasy points?
Yep, and maybe first half too. I would say first half and full game.
All right, let me add that to the list. Tobias Harris, FBS, first half. I don't hate I kind of like the first half too because I'm not sure how much of a fourth quarter I'm expecting here. All right, looking at the second game here, we got the Mavs at the Suns. We got 216.5 total, 6.5 point spread in favor of the home team, Phoenix Suns. So both home teams pretty well favored here. We did get some information out of the Mavs Suns game, right? We were wondering how the Suns would guard Luka and if they would use Mccall Bridges as maybe a shadow guy or perhaps use Mccall for Brunson more. And I think that was the case, right? We saw a little bit more Luka versus not Mccall, even though there was some cross. And that allowed Luka to have a lot of real points, which it looked like the Suns were content with letting him score and just kind of keeping the rest of the game away from him. Bing bong.
Our super chatted $10. Bet this Tucker over 3.5 first half, Harris 9.5 and Aiden 9.5 over first half.
Let's go, Dustin. Appreciate that 10, Dustin. Bet this, bet this. So I'm gonna take your $10 and bet this, right?
I first saw that, I thought it said bet this something else.
oh no, he called me an effer. No,
yeah.
No, shout out to Dustin. Dustin, is that your car in your avatar? Looks pretty clean from this view. Bet this Tucker over 3.5 first half. Tobias Harris 9.5 over and 8 and 9.5 over first half. All right, bet. Shout out to Dustin. Appreciate that $10 dono, by the way. Anyway, Luka Doncic played all but a couple minutes in the second quarter, 44 minutes for the game. If you're going to be a high-usage guy like Luka Doncic and you're going to have a shot at 44 minutes, I would be pretty well interested in a lot of his props. We'll pull up the NBA Wowie for him. I think he has like a 40% usage rate. Absolutely elite. But did you see, were some of your questions answered on how they attack Luka? And we talk about adjustments, but at the end of the day, if you win the game, you don't necessarily have to adjust. You know what I mean? So while Luka put up like a bajillion points, they got the result they wanted. What did you see from how they treated Luka, and do you expect any changes in this game? And what's standing out for you on Luka and the Mavericks as far as the prop board goes?
Yeah, so I was kind of surprised. So they started Mccall on Luka in the game. I thought that Mccall would start on Brunson because Mccall tends to play his best perimeter defense on smaller guards. But I mean, Mccall's just an overall good defender, and he did really well against Luka. So Luka only scored 10 points on him on, I forget how many possessions or shots. So 10 out of his 45. And then actually, Luka ended up scoring a lot of his points when he would get switched on Cam Johnson. So that's something Monty's going to have to think about and try to maybe hide Cam in the defense away from Luka. But yeah, I mean, Luka was just having his way. He was just penetrating and getting easy buckets. I think the thing that Monty Williams and the Suns are going to want to stop are guys like Maxey and Reggie and Finney making those corner threes. And leaving them open, because when Luka will get to the penetrate and the defense will sag in, that's when he immediately looks to those corners. That's like their go-to play. He just kicks it out to that corner three-point shooter on either side. And Maxey, I think, had like 5 of those in that game. And Reggie and Finney had a couple. I think that's probably like the biggest thing that the Suns would want to stop, because they can make those in a flurry and cut a lead and down to nothing really quickly. But yeah, I mean, Luka penetrating and getting to the basket and even picking up free throws, I think they can live with, don't mind. I don't know how much of an adjustment they'll actually make from the last game. And just based on what I've heard Monty talk about. But yeah, so Luka right now on PrizePicks, he's at 31.5 points. Everywhere else on the books, he's at 33.5. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but a 2-point difference, a whole bucket. Sometimes you've seen it, like you get hooked, like with Giannis yesterday, by 0.5. It can make a difference. So, I'm I'm liking that. I know fantasy is probably the way to go with guys like Luka because he fills the stat line, he gets the boards, the assist. But they did juice it to 56 today. I'm sure you have him projected very high again today.
I think approximately 8 billion fantasy points for Luka tonight.
And we joked. So for this last game 2 days ago, he was projected for 67, and what did he end up finishing with?
Like 70, right? Like it was a lot.
I think it was spot on. I think it was like 66.
It might have been. Well, heck, I could just look in the game log. Hello. I was gonna pull
69. 69. So nice. Look, it was spot on, dude.
And I argued against it, and it was my own algorithm, bro.
You went against
why? Why do I do this?
Yeah, own model. Yeah, so I'm gonna say fantasy, and then real points. I just like this discount. If you're
it's just like in 44 minutes of like the highest usage guy in the league, right? It's like holy cow! Like it just, and he has no quit. And like you said, he knows how to get around traps, how to play against traps, not to do too much. And if they change up their scheme, give him a new look. I mean, that's just an incredible opportunity. So yeah, you got to stay out of foul trouble and stuff like that. But 44 minutes. I mean, this guy could be 1.6, 1.8 fantasy points per minute. He's just a do-it-all kind of guy. So, yeah, I'm with you. As much as I hate picking on this Suns defense, the opportunity is nuts right now.
Yeah, I mean, I look at this just like I look at the Morant situation, like I was saying, against the Warriors. It's just those type of matchups where these kind of guys who dominate the ball and have a favorable matchup, they're just going to eat in this series. Now, whether their team wins or not, that's a different story. But yeah, I mean, I think I just lock and load Luka, and I think he's going to get it done with either his real points or his fantasy. So I'll go both. And so the tricky part now is getting to these secondary guys. So Reggie Bullock actually played a lot less minutes because he ended up fouling out. But he fouled out later on. But it looked like actually Jason Kidd was kind of holding back on his minutes and trying to rest him because he was playing him so much in that first round. I was playing like 44, 45 minutes. But Finney still got his minutes. And he played a huge amount at the 5. And that's actually the Mavs, probably their best unit when he's at the 5 defensively. He's probably their best post defender. So when Ayton would go against Powell, when Powell was out there, Ayton was just eating like easy bucket after bucket after bucket. And then when Finney came in and played at the 5 for a good portion of the third quarter and then all of the fourth quarter, Ayton did not score a bucket. So I think Kidd's gonna have to cut back on Powell's minutes even more. So I know he's down to 15 now, but I would just cut it. I would just not play him at all in the second half. I mean, I would just remove this third quarter stint and just maybe play him in a short burst in the first and second quarter, pick up some fouls, some boards, just body in there, eat up energy on the other guys, and then just run this Finney at 5 for the third and fourth, and just ride it all the way out.
So I mean, if you're thinking that's the case, we're going back to these Finney rebounds at a high clip.
Well, so here's the issue with that. You would think so, logically, right? Like, okay, you're going to play at the 5, you're going to get more rebounds. So I went back and watched the film because I watched the game I watched it live, and then I noticed something because I watched the backboard camera. So I'm looking from the back of the play. And every time the ball would go in the air, and this is the third and fourth quarter, and if it was especially if it was a 3-point shot, Finney would just look for Ayton and just sprint towards him and just basically try to tackle him or, box him out. He wouldn't even be looking where the ball is going, where it's landing, and look to rebound it. I think they schemed up, like, since they're undersized when Finney's at the 5, their scheme is like, you go, you box them out, and you let someone else get the rebound for you. And that's why, like, guys like Reggie and even Luka are picking up all these rebounds because he's clearing out the paint for them and boxing out. And so he did get some rebounds. Over half his rebounds in that game came from offensive putbacks where he was just attacking the paint and then basically dunking and putting it back in. So, yeah, it's risky. And he barely cleared it last game. but I mean, I like it. I mean, it makes sense. But I think Reggie. Now that I look at it and gone through and look at these past games where he's had these rebound spikes, I think it's because of this Finney-Smith boxing out, and Reggie will crash in from the wing and pick up these rebounds that are, especially the long rebounds that are coming from 3-point shots. So if I had to choose between the two, because they are both appealing, because the Suns struggle on the glass, I would choose Reggie just because of that thing I noticed about Finney, and if he plays at the 5. And then, Luka, he's going to get his boards, of course. And then I think, all these guys 3-point props are live because that's the Mavs. That's what they're going to live and die by today. Again, they took almost 43s last game. I think nothing changes today. It's just, you got to choose the right one. I mean, all these guys are going to sit in the corner on each wing when they're playing out, when they're out there. So, Reggie tends to, he's probably the best 3-point shooter out of all of them and wing shooter. But Maxey, he's shown that he can get hot in these playoffs. But he did take a pretty bad fall that last game. But he's gonna ride it out and play. But so Maxey, they have a 1.5 3, and then Reggie and Finney, they both have a 2. But yeah, if Finney's playing at the 5 more, maybe he gets a little less 3-point opportunities today than Reggie and Maxey. Do you have a lean on either one of those 3-point props?
So, man, not really. I think Reggie at 2 seems like a push most commonly.
Yes.
So maybe we just take that and hope for the third one to come.
Right.
With DFS, I'm always finding myself like stuck on trying to bet something with these guys that are playing essentially the whole game, 40
fantasy.
minutes, 42 minutes, something. I was thinking fantasy or PRA, but DFS is, every now and then he'll pick up a steal, but he could neutralize it with a turnover. So if you're gonna play 40 minutes, you're gonna get a little extra run at the 5, and like you said, it's not necessarily that he's
a traditional center, right?
Right.
You can't treat him like that, right?
Do we think maybe the PRA on DFS?
Yeah, it's
19 and a half.
So.
It's literally less than half, not half, less than half of his probable minutes played tonight. And he's not an involved guy. He probably has like a 13% usage or something dumb like that. It's literally 13%.
He has to fight.
But hey, opportunity, right? Minutes equal money sometimes. Let me see if we get a different line on him oh my god, bro. Does he get his assists like this? Because he's at 17.5 PR on Underdog. Hey, it actually does pick up some assists. So I'd be maybe looking for his PRA prop on PrizePicks. It's something that I would hope that he could be literally less than half a PRA per minute guy in 40 minutes. So maybe that's what I would jot down, unless you think there's merit in a couple of steals here to get to the fantasy score, which is essentially implied. So 19.5 PRA with 24 fantasy points. Obviously, rebounds and assists are not literally 1 point, but I don't know. Do you think there's enough steal equity versus turnover possibility that it's worth taking the fantasy points, or do you just take the PRA? I guess it's essentially the same bet, but I'm kind of leaning PRA.
Yeah, I'm thinking PRA because he's not a big stock guy. But I mean,
and the turnovers could negate some of the extra. So I'm gonna add DFS PRA 19.5 on the list.
Okay, I like that. And then Reggie, would we say number 1 is rebound and number 2 is 3, or other way around?
Maybe the other way around. So even him, like if we start thinking, so if we're thinking 3 threes, that's 9 points, right? And if we're thinking rebounds, that's 5 rebounds. That's 14, and his PRA is at 14.5. So maybe we look at his PRA. And he probably gets more minutes if he doesn't foul out, right? Like he I don't know. What do you think? He played 32 minutes. Maybe he gets 35 to 38 minutes if he stays on the court. In his first stint out there, he picked up 2 fouls in a couple minutes, and maybe that was that's something to end. He probably leaves 2 minutes to close, so maybe 35 minutes of Reggie out there. So I don't know. I think 3 would be my first lean. But since we're like thinking about rebounds and whatnot, maybe we think about the PRA. But I would probably nominate Reggie Bullock threes. What do you think? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's gonna sit in that wing, and chuck it. I expect him to take, if he doesn't foul out again, I expect him to take 8 to 10 threes. If he didn't foul out that game and picked up his normal minutes, I'm sure he would have cleared that 3-point prop last game.
Yeah, I agree. And then
Brunson, what do we want to do with Brunson? So he only took 1 3. He just didn't seem aggressive in that game at all. They need him today, man. They really need him.
I usually look for him to be 1 or 2 on the team in real points.
I know.
And that was not the case in game 1. Do we expect that to continue to be the case? Remember, we talked about coaches making adjustments and players making adjustments too. They know what they were seeing. Took 16 shot attempts, much less threes than usual. I probably would lean, if I had to start somewhere, I'd probably start with going back to the real points as something I would go after. But this wing and guard defense for the Suns is a strong defense. So I think his real points would, if they came up, they'd have to come from Luka's real points, which, if Luka's going to drop 50 real points a game, then good for him. But you would expect that to regress a little bit, and a guy like Brunson would break off a piece of that. So I probably start with his real points. It's not a warm and fuzzy click there, but I do think 18.5. It feels like one of the softer lines we've had on him for.
And his fantasy, I mean, if his fantasy's 28, I mean, he's gonna have to play 35 plus minutes. I don't know why he missed out on a big second quarter stint.
I got him for 37 fantasy points. So there's about a 9-point gap. Looking back at that.
I picked up his third foul. Okay, so he got in foul trouble. That's right. That's why he missed out on a second quarter run.
Oh yeah. So I mean, we expect him to play the whole second quarter, right? Or at least close out.
Yeah, he picked up his third foul right in the beginning of the second. That's why he only played 30 minutes, and he almost. I mean, he was at 24 fantasy points. I mean, if he gets his full 38 minutes, I would assume.
Yeah, and Luka picked up 12 points in that second quarter stretch. So I'd probably go for the fantasy points. I definitely think the fantasy points, like, points per minute. If you're gonna play 37 minutes, which is the expectation if you stay out of foul trouble.
Yeah.
And to be fair, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, they'll draw those fouls, but. Yeah, okay. So let's go Brunson fantasy.
Yep.
Jaylen Brunson fantasy. Bet. Woo! We doing some work. Let's get caught up on chat. I'll try to get caught up. What up, Joseph? Does Gunn have a wiki page? Not that I know of. How do you get a wiki page?
It's ketchup and steak.
I know. I think you got to be like famous to have a wiki page. I'm not. Maybe one day. Forget Maxi. It's not about him. Blah 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 blah. Hey, Ryan J. Tobin. Ryan J. Tobin. Ryan, appreciate that sub, man. Welcome to the channel. Dinwiddie assist. You like that? All right. Exit screen. Harden assist. Open at 9.5. Now it's at 8.5. Man. See, man, the buyer's remorse might kick in. We might get some really, really low lines on him. Ryan says Bullock rebounds, Dinwiddie assists, 8 in first half points. Yeah, we're gonna transition to the Suns now. See what we can come up with. Humboldt says, would you play Adebayo or Ayton in cash games on DraftKings? Would you play Adebayo or Ayton as a 1v1? Man, I like Adebayo if he's against DeAndre Jordan. Ayton should project strong no matter what. I got him both. Let's see. I got Ayton at 45 fantasy points for FanDuel. I got Adebayo for more, but so I technically I have Adebayo with a higher ceiling, and I guess that's fair with Devon Booker in the mix. But I wouldn't hate either. But I guess I slight lean Adebayo. Maxi over 1.5 threes. What do you think about that, Josh? That's all he does, right? Corner three.
No, that's what I mentioned earlier. I said those three guys, you can rotate and mix and match. I mean, I think they're all live. It's just you got to land a dart on the right one.
Yeah, and if you're thinking that there's a little less run there for Powell, maybe there's a little bit more run for Clayball. So
Clayball will definitely play some minutes at the 5 today for sure.
All right. All right, transitioning to the Sun side of this game for props. I guess we'll start with the big game out of Devin Booker, right? Devin Booker took over and was involved in every facet of that game, so much so that it took away from the strengths of like Chris Paul, right? He had 8 assists in that game, 9 rebounds, 7 for 20 with 8 free throw attempts, just doing it all. Meanwhile, Chris Paul, who we usually expect to be like 12, 13 assists in this spot, only had 3 assists. I mean, that's
28 minutes. He only played 20. They rested him. They were like, you can chill, dude. It's D-Book's night. D-Book played almost 40 minutes.
Yeah, I think that the game was starting to get away, and then Dallas
it was
clawed,
always in that 15 range.
Dallas kind of clawed back in, and Chris Paul checks back in. Just 28 minutes, and that's something we've seen Chris Paul down the stretch of the regular season. He was playing 38 minutes, so maybe
trying to rest him.
Maybe Bridges 42 minutes. Devin Booker 38 minutes, and they were using Cameron Paynes, the Javal McGee's, the Cameron Johnsons, guys like that. So is that going to be the plan going forward? I think that's one of those play the scoreboard, right? If you get 15-point leads, you can kind of keep an eye on Paul sitting on a chair. But if it gets a little bit closer, then you bring him in there. So that's why I maybe don't expect a full onslaught blowout here, but nonetheless, results-wise, I mean, even in 28 minutes, you wouldn't expect 3 assists from Chris Paul, right? Maybe because of that, we're getting a single-digit assist line on Chris Paul. We're getting him at 16.5 points, 1.5 block steals, and 38 fantasy points. And I have him for about 42, so slightly in the over. And then just looking at the rest of this PrizePicks board for what's available, Devin Booker starts off at 2 threes, 40 fantasy points, 24.5 real points. DeAndre Ayton starts off at 18.5 real points, 10 rebounds, 36 fantasy points. He ended that last game with 37.6. We talked about how he should be able to dominate Dwight Powell, but he also has to pecking order here. Devin Booker's number 1. Mccall Bridges. Repeat what I was saying about Dorian Finney-Smith, man. You're gonna play 40 minutes. Essentially half of the minutes is his PRA, 21.5 PRA. That last game, 24. He's cleared this 21.5 in 3 straight. And this was one of our favorite props throughout the regular season as well, is he just plays so many minutes and he's active on defense that those rebounds, a couple points here, some assists here, they'll fall in line. And then he actually has a is this fantasy score thing lower than? Or it's a little higher than DFS. It's at 27, and he is somebody unlike DFS where we can imply steals a little bit more, right? Looking at
I like his 1.5 steal block the most, I think.
Yeah, he averages over 1.5 steals blocks per game on the season. So, playing the amount of minutes in a high pressure situation. But with that said, is like if we're looking at the best Mccall Bridges prop to bet, I think we can consider the fantasy score as well, just because 2 steals and blocks is 6 fantasy points here. So put that with his 21.5 PRA, that would help him clear everything.
That's why I'm just going to take his 1.5 block steal.
I mean, I'm not against it.
If that's, I agree with you. He's gonna get the stocks. I mean, Luka. He's very prone to turning it over, and he's going to play a lot of minutes shadowing him. So,
all right. So let's add that to the list. So we want to start off our Suns list with Bridges over 1.5 block steal.
Yeah.
They also have half a block as a prop for him. So again, aligned with his season average. And then do we have a read here on what we're thinking out of Chris Paul, Booker, Ayton? Do we expect more lopsidedness? Do we expect more Devin Booker total domination? If so, Devin Booker at 40 fantasy points, I have him at 47. So anytime I get like a +6 difference, I'm interested. And they also have him at 4.5 assists, which he essentially doubled in that last signing. So is it going to be the norm for Devin Booker to be the assist guy on this team? I would expect no. But what are you thinking? What do we want to take away from the Suns? I started the list with Bridges.
Man, I mean, they're totally cannibalizing each other. So it's risky because we have no idea like why this is happening. Maybe there was a game plan or strategy they had where they saw a weakness where they could attack with D-Book, and that's why they went with him dominating. Because I mean, it was very clear that he was going to be the de facto ball handler, playmaker that game. So I just don't know. I mean, it worked, so maybe they stick with it. Maybe Chris Paul gets back to running the offense again, steering the ship. But with all that said, I mean, it just makes it very risky. But even if, like, let's say Chris Paul goes back and plays his normal minutes and is the playmaker, I still think you can go with Booker's 40 fantasy points. So I'm with you on that because he should fill the stat line no matter what role he's playing. And yeah, I mean, he seems rusty with the shot so far since coming back from his hamstring, but he can get hot from three at any time. We know that. So if you want a lower line for him, the 2 3-point made would make sense. I mean, but the Suns didn't take that many threes last game because they didn't have to. They shot so efficiently.
And remember, if there's one thing Dallas does good, it's defend the three ball. They're one of the best in the league at doing it.
Yeah, they I think they're actually. I looked at the stat. They're like ranked top 3 percentage of 3-point shots contested, and the Suns are actually interesting, like bottom 10.
Yeah, Dallas allowed the fewest points per game in the regular season from 3-pointers.
Yeah, and they contested the most of them. So, yeah, so I'll be a little more hesitant on it, but it's D-Book. I mean, he'll chug it from 3 and shoot at a high clip. And then Ayton, yeah. So Ayton, I mean, we called it that day. We were like, this is a perfect matchup for him. And he had his way. But then, like I said, he did struggle. But in the third and fourth quarter stint run he had when Powell was out. So you could go with this first half if Powell draws a start, which I assume he will. So go this first half points. And then, I mean, you could also just go this full game too. Because there's a chance, like, in the first half, D-Book catches fire or something like that. And we've seen it when D-Book catches fire, like, he does not pass the ball, and the ball, everything runs through him, and he'll just dominate the shot volume, which has killed Ayton in the past. But, I mean, I just really like Ayton today in this matchup again. I mean, it's just perfect for him. So I want exposure to his first half points and his full game points as well.
Yeah, first half is at 18 fantasy points, so stands out as something we can probably get behind. Even if you project this game to be a little lopsided, Ayton should be part of the part of the action, more so in the first half. But it was pretty split in that first game, so wouldn't overrate that statement. I'm in agreement with that. I would go with
points though, not fantasy. I think
he's
just not getting the boards.
Okay. So with that said, Ayton's full game point prop is 18.5, and then looking at the first half point prop for Ayton, he's at 9.5. So you're looking for 10 points, and that's something. Yeah, he's been smoking that pretty consistently. And if we give him the benefit of the matchup on Dwight Powell, I like that. And then a lot of times, when in NFL they have the first 20 plays that they like to draw up. That the Suns are one of those teams that have the first couple plays that they want to go to, and it's almost always involving the center. It's not a lot of teams that want to start games by shooting threes. You kind of warm your way up to it. So yeah, it makes sense to target his first half real points. So I like that. Let me add that to the list. DeAndre Ayton first half real points. Cool. Bet. Do we have a number 1 Devin Booker prop?
Since we can't decide and we don't know what the game script is going to be like with him and Chris Paul, I'm probably just going to lean fantasy. What do you think?
Yeah, it's just kind of the blanket over it all and hope for the best. Makes a lot of sense. Like I said, I haven't projected on the over. He's looking healthy. We had some concerns. His shot efficiency's down, but I don't necessarily want to attribute that to health, because this Mavericks defense isn't no punk, right? So I'll take the 47 fantasy. I'll take my projection at 47 for him on PrizePicks versus their 40. Let me see if Underdog offers something in the vicinity of that to know that we're getting a better deal. By the way, Underdog had him at 26.5 real points, Devin Booker, and PrizePicks had him at 24.5. So 2-point boost there. We'll see if they come back with that. They also have Devin Booker at 42 fantasy points, which is a bucket higher. So the better line if we're digging the over is on PrizePicks, but if you like some of these unders, you might be looking over here. They also had Paul at 9.5. So yeah, a little bit more aggressive, more expensive lines. So if you're an under guy, underdog might be the move for your under tickets, and PrizePicks might be the move for your over ticket. So let's go ahead and add Devin Booker fantasy points to the list here. So just to recap, Mccall Bridges, 1.5 block steals, DeAndre Ayton first half real points, Devin Booker fantasy points full game, right?
Mm-hmm. And then do you want any of these tertiary guys like Crowder and Cam Johnson?
I don't think that I do.
I don't either. I don't like them.
Yeah. All right, let's get caught up on chat, and then I got to get the Discord ready. Speaking of a Discord, chat, we have a completely free Discord, literally free. Like, it's free 99 plus tax. If you guys want in on that, there's a link in the description below. I put out an analysis when we drop a new piece of content. Shout out to all you guys that have jumped in there today. Gerardo, ACP, Baby Kangaroo, and you guys have been round the clock in this PrizePicks props channel. A lot of fun. It honestly, it like makes me proud to see you guys come together through, you know, my YouTube channel, right? In the humblest of ways. And I love seeing, you know, some bonds formed here. And you guys are sharing the fire. You're keeping the vibes right. You're having fun when things ain't going your way, right? It's a very it could be a frustrating thing to get hooked or you know, your player's not doing what you expect them to do. So you guys have fun with it. I love to see that. And my favorite thing is there's no toxic machismo attitudes floating around. We've had like one or two, and I've kicked them out, man. That's just not the vibe of this channel, man. If you guys, you know, if you want to be, I make more money, I bet more money types, there's plenty of gambling chats and discords out there for you, bro. But this one, we keep the vibes right. So you want to be part of that, go to the description below. And then if you are a YouTube channel member, there's a join button below. You link your Discord with your YouTube, and Josh posts our final list in the YouTube channel on that free Discord. But that part is not technically free since you have to be a YouTube channel member. So it's like $5 a month. So if you look below, you'll see a join button. It's like where the thumbs up button is. You can get in on that, support the channel, support the stream, and you'll get the list. So maybe something to sweat. There's also a $10 risk-free thing for hockey tonight. I don't know hockey, but I'm sure somebody in that channel will share something. You might as well throw a 10-piece at it, see what happens. All right, let's get caught up on chat. We'll recap our list here, and then I got to get into the RunDFS.com premium voice chat and wind down for baseball and get my baseball DFS going. So, Wes says, thoughts on Booker, 35.5 PRA. I'm starting to have buyer's remorse on that one. So I think, like, you know, not to speak for Josh, but I think the throwing the blanket over the fantasy is probably the approach for us, which would be linear to that PRA. I don't know if you're worried about turnovers or whatever, but I guess we'd be okay with the PRA since we're okay with the fantasy.
Yeah.
Okay. What up, James Sawyer? Hope you're doing all right. Highest Booker gets this series is 25-30. Hey, that's possible. Eric says Crowder fantasy points at 20 seems pretty low still. If he stays out of foul trouble, he should play 30-plus minutes. Yeah, another one of those, more minutes than fantasy points projected. I don't think that's crazy. Crowder's not quite in PJ Tucker territory for me yet, but he's starting to get there. Like, he's one of those guys that I'm hesitant on, right? We all have that list of people we just don't trust. You know?
You don't want to put your money on this kind. And I get it.
Vince is late. Shout out to Vince. He was busy taking screenshots with his cell phone on his computer. Had to get it together. What else we got? McGee, no McGee for me. What else we got? Free Discord's where it's at. Hey, you guys are killing it in the free Discord. I'd love to see that. We need to have a top 10 player props at the end of the season. A top 10 player props, just like what we bet all year, maybe. Let's exchange Cash App tags for a personal bet on that. Oh man, I think Lion and I don't know who Lion's been going at it with. What up, Willie? You're making us cry. I'm just saying it's a proud thing to be. And I don't mean it humbly mean like, man, it's cool to be a part of creating something that's positive in the community. So shout out to you guys. And, I try to pop in as much as possible. Josh is always in there. And you guys are some suckers for pain, man. You guys love the pain. So we love to see it. I am Tucker will shoot Mccall out. PJ Tucker doesn't create his own shot, But like it's a low enough line that I'm not pushing back. If you think 3.5 points, like he hits 2 corner threes, cool. But it's not like PJ Tucker benefits from no point guard, right? Like he still has to be fed for the most part. I think like 90% of his shots are like corner threes or catch and shoots from teammates. So I don't know. Guys like Tucker and Crowder just fade. Yeah, same with me, Jeff. But like I wouldn't talk anyone on. Like if you're on Tucker, you're on Crowder, do it. That's just like not me. Like I said, the point of this isn't me telling you who to play. It's just telling you who I'm playing. We're all just kind of thinking through it, talking through it. But anyway, let's recap what we got from the list that I've kind of kept tabs on while we were talking about everything on here. So Josh, you open up that ear. Let me know if I say anything that you don't have or if I miss something. So from what we talked about, I have jotted down James Harden free throws. Jimmy Butler 1.5 steals or 6.5 rebounds. Tobias Harris fantasy points or first half. What was first half fantasy or first half points? First half, whatever.
Fantasy.
Okay. I put Luka Doncic's fantasy points. Dorian Finney-Smith PRA at 19.5. Reggie Bullock threes, and I believe the line is 2. Jaylen Brunson fantasy. And then on the Suns side, Mccall Bridges over 1.5 block steal. DeAndre Ayton first half real points. I like that. I think that might end up being a core play for us. Devin Booker full game fantasy. Conspicuous by their absence. I didn't jot anything down for the Miami Heat, but is there anything that you have that you think it's worth being on this list? Otherwise, we'll iron out the list.
I think we missed adding Reggie Bullock's 4.5 rebounds just based on that game film. Watching and why he's getting these rebounds, it's a real thing. It's not just random long rebounds. It's by design. So, and then what was the other one that we missed?
Awkward silence. Dun, 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 dun,
No,
dun,
I'm
dun,
looking.
dun,
Sorry.
I know. I'm just trying to fill that.
Oh, and Luka's real points on PrizePicks is I like at 31.5. Just in case. I mean, we've seen him where he just goes off scoring and won't get their fantasy because he's just like not passing and not getting it done on defense. So, and you get a 2-point discount, like I said, on that. So, I probably like that with the fantasy points as well. Just mix and match them.
Yeah. Eric says, you're probably right. PJ does suck when my gut's telling me to play. Hey, your intuition, that's your edge, baby. Put some money on PJ Tucker, and if it hits, man, I'm rooting for you, right? I don't make money if PJ Tucker doesn't hit. I'm not betting them. So, hey, you guys out there taking the overs, take them overs. I'll root for you. Hey, there's no basketball tomorrow. None. It's Friday. Well, get to shine with baseball, baby. Let's go. On Friday, we've got Heat Sixers, Sun Mavericks, and then, that's it. So we'll see you guys on Friday, maybe Friday morning with the first look, possibly, but also a live stream. I will have a lot of live content tomorrow for baseball here and on the Osmo channel. So there's still stuff to degen on, man. I appreciate you guys giving us a little bit of your time, spending a little bit of my time with a little bit of your time. Tell somebody out there that you love them. It's a crazy world. I love you guys. Good luck. God bless. And go win some money. Bro, you gotta like you have to win tonight. If you can't hold the L tomorrow, there's no. Oh my God, that's gonna sting. You gotta win.